Hello everyone, my name is James, though I suppose from now on you can call me Disgruntled if you wish, given the name of this channel. I saw an article not too long ago which said that by 2026, 90% of content on YouTube, or it could have been the internet in general, will be AI generated. In consequence, I figured that pretty soon there's going to be more demand for authentic, human-driven videos, and so here I am with my first video, trying to fill that imminent lacuna. I've been getting videos in my recommended recently while using a different YouTube account where people record themselves in their rooms, talking about their struggles with things such as loneliness, dating, and life in general. I saw a comment under one of these videos that said, "I swear, the best videos are the ones where it's just some guy in his room, talking about life." I'm absolutely rubbish with technology. I'm recording this using Photo Booth on my MacBook, and I have no idea how to edit, so hopefully I'll be able to say what I'm about to say in one smooth take. I'd like to think that, should this channel start to grow and find success, my technological incompetence will be a part of the charm of this channel. Anybody will be able to understand that there's nothing special about me or what I do. I'm just one guy trying to reach out to anyone who's willing to provide me with a listening ear. With that said, what exactly is the point of this channel? What is my current vision with it? Well, I recently started writing down some of the thoughts that kept bouncing around in my head on a Pages document, Apple's version of Microsoft Word. A bunch of personal essays, if you will. I've been thinking to myself, why keep these thoughts all to myself? Why not upload myself reading these essays aloud, upload them to YouTube, and see what the feedback turns out to be? Why not find out if people generally agree or disagree with what I've postulated? Perhaps someone could even give me a suggestion as to what else they'd like to see me write about, if what I say is to their liking. I'm never going to know what happens if I don't try. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Who pays on a first date? If you, as a man, ask a girl out on a date, and you take her to a pizza place and agree to get a single pizza for the two of you to share, then it would be a pretty graceless move to ask her to give you her wallet and say that you're going Dutch. But if you order individual slices, for instance, and you want to eat 2 slices of pepperoni, whereas she wants to eat 6, why should you be obligated to pay for 8 slices when you only want to eat 2? I think that having both the man and the woman pay for their own items of food, especially on a first date, is a win-win scenario. The man saves money, the woman knows that there's no excuses for the man to get any expectations, i.e. I paid for her coffee so she owes me a kiss, sex, or even a second date, etc. And if the woman wants to go out with the man on a second date, then he'll know that it'll be because he showed her a good time, that he genuinely earned the second date by being pleasant company, instead of wondering if she only wants the second date because she thinks she can get something out of it, i.e. more free food. I saw Lori Gottlieb, the psychotherapist, on Diary of a CEO a little while back, and she mentioned at one point that a client of hers went on a date with a guy, really enjoyed it, but he didn't pay for her coffee, and so she didn't want to go on any more dates with him. When Stephen Bartlett, the podcast host, asked Laurie if she thought that her client made the right call, she said yes, because paying for a girl's coffee shows her that you're grateful for the fact that she was willing to spend time with you. With that clip from the full podcast, when that clip from the full podcast got uploaded as its own video to the Diary of a CEO Clips channel, everybody in the comments sounded off, with all of them, from the ones I read, disapproving of Laurie's advice. One of the ones that stood out to me said something along the lines of, "So, the fact that she had a good time, yet refused to go on any further dates specifically because the guy didn't pay for her coffee, implies that getting a free coffee out of the first date was the only thing that this girl ever really cared about." I think that comment was completely right. If someone isn't willing to go on a second date with me just because I didn't pay for whatever they ordered, and if me being pleasant company can do nothing to mitigate such a supposed solecism, then she's not the kind of person that I'd be willing to go on any further dates with anyway, because she's too shallow. Besides, I heard that 50% of first dates don't lead to second dates, so what's the point? I think the correct thing to do is pay for her food when you figured out who she is and what she's about. For instance, I once saw a news article in which this girl confessed to going on a bunch of first dates with random men for the sole purpose of obtaining a free meal out of it. That, to me, is narcissistic manipulation, plain and simple. I don't see why you should pay for her food, particularly if you're in a place where each person can pay for their own meal, until you have a clearer idea of who she is and can be reasonably certain that she isn't the kind of person who plans on taking advantage of you. I thought the whole purpose of feminism was to, liberate women from men, to break free of tradition when it can be oppressive at times. But when men go out on dates with women, the man still has to pay. So now traditional values are important, but only when women benefit from it. I don't think so. I'll start paying for the both of us if we've agreed to go on a second date. If she agrees to go on a second date with me, then at the very least, I'll know that she has demonstrated some level of commitment instead of merely bouncing from one first date to the next. Well, everyone, that's enough rambling from me. Now I want to hear what you think and what you'd like to hear me speak about next. I have more essays and topics on which I can touch, but feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments down below. Lastly, it would be remiss of me not to inform you that for this particular essay that I just read, I copied and pasted it into ChatGPT, whereupon it gave me its thoughts and feedback on the piece, after which I provided it in another prompt with some context as to what made me start to write the essay in the first place. For the next video, if anyone's interested, I think I'll probably read the revised ChatGPT edition of the above essay, but for now, know that everything I just finished reading was composed entirely by my hand. So this is the pre-ChatGPT version, in other words. There will never be any AI-generated essays on this channel, but there may be the occasional AI-assisted essay. The ChatGPT assisted version of the above piece is largely the same as the original, but contains an interesting first date story of mine along with some additional commentary on modern feminism and a proper intro and outro. The original version ends rather abruptly, as you may have been able to tell, so watch this space. The pilot episode of Disgruntled Diaries is thus concluded. Thank you for your time. Excuse me if my voice was a bit quiet. It's 1:16 a.m. as I'm about to hit the stop button on this recording.